everyone, and welcome to The Insider, the ongoing video series that keeps you up to date on all things IPW. I am the voice of Independence Pro Wrestling, J-Rod, and a lot went down in Survival. Let's talk about it. We began with real hype as they were set to compete in a Fade-to-Fade qualifier against each other in a back-and-forth crowd pleaser between two guys who know so much about each other. It would be a little trickery from Mondo Real that led to Real catching his mentor out of position for a quick pinfall. They hugged it out and Mondo moves into the tournament. Losing the qualifier may be a blessing in disguise for Jimmy Sholwin. Sholwin has no distractions going into his interim Michiana Championship defense this Saturday at Shootout as he defends against Brutus Dillon in the long-awaited matchup dubbed the Clash of the Titans. Our IPW Women's Champion, Thunder Kitty LaFleur, won the title at Libertad back in early May, and since then, former champion Stella Bujo won a tables match against her longtime rival, Lil Missy, the Honey Badger. Stella wants the women's title back and told Kitty that just like Stella put Missy through a table, she planned to do the same thing to LaFleur. This match would take place in our main event. In our second match of the evening and fifth overall Fade-to-Fade qualifier, House Bison's Bedrick Bison took on Mexico's Dragon Jones. This was a great technical matchup, and despite the giant heart of Jones, Bedrick Bison would eventually get the win to qualify for the tournament. Bedrick Bison and Nathan Sharp will challenge for the IPW Tag Team Championships this Saturday at Shootout. So it is possible that Bedrick Bison could hold two titles simultaneously after War on the Shore. Once again, the monster who has been stalking Dragon Jones came to ringside after the match. The monster threw Jones to the ground and even tore the Dragon's mask off. One of the most disrespectful things you could ever do to any masked luchador. This pissed Jones off, and he decided that he was going to fight back this time. A beautiful Hurricane Rana from Dragon Jones sent the monster to the outside, and as Jones called him back into the ring to finish the fight, the monster left ringside instead. I caught up with Dragon Jones later in the evening because I needed to know what this was all about. Dragon Jones stated that as a young boy in Tijuana, he had a friend who he looked up to by the name of Invictus. Since moving to the States, Dragon Jones lost contact with Invictus, and Jones assumes that's why Invictus has been attacking him. Jones wants Invictus to know that Jones is not a little kid anymore, and while Invictus may be larger in size, Jones has the bigger heart. Dragon Jones has since challenged Invictus to a match, and we may see it at Shootout. The Yoopers, Jay Lee, has been forced to compete in singles action since Big Jorge destroyed the arm of the other Yooper, Remnar Gunlock. Jay Lee took on the long-standing IPW Championship #1 contender, Chad Alpha. Yet again, Chad Alpha wins a match, and yet again, it means almost nothing because he can't get Jamal to grant him another title shot. Alpha has only two ways to get back into the title picture: if Jamal King loses it, or if Alpha can win the Fade-to-Fade tournament. As for the Yoopers, Remnar Gudlock has been having a tough time coping with his injury.
I got the elbow so bad I can feel the side of the floor. What's going on there, bud? Goddamn, Jorge. No, Jorge. Still got my partner. That's wrong. You messed with my partner? It cost me the thing, man. I could have been there. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'm going to knock you out cooler than an ice shanty without walls there, Jorge. Let's go. Hold on. I want him. Wait till I'm kicking your ass.
Since April, Terry Van Avery has gotten revenge on Josh Raymond over and over and over, still refusing a match. Raymond called Van Avery down to the ring to hopefully settle their dispute with words. For the first time since March, Terry Van Avery finally spoke. He told Raymond that the only way this thing can be settled is a match between the two at War on the Shore. Raymond said he would think about it as long as Van Avery would agree not to meddle in Raymond's matches anymore. Van Avery said he would stay out of Raymond's way, but he would still sit ringside and watch. This would add even more stress to Josh Raymond as he was set to compete in the next Fate of 8 qualifier against the Colonel of Clapping Cheeks, LaDon Sanders. Raymond just could not keep his eye off Van Avery, and his inability to focus would eventually be his downfall. LaDon Sanders punched his ticket to Fate of 8. To Terry Van Avery's credit, he kept his word and did not interfere in the match. I spoke to Josh Raymond after the match, and he had this to say. Backstage at IPW Survival here with Josh Raymond. Not too much of a good night for you tonight, Josh.
No.
No,
it wasn't. You see, it's been a travesty here at IPW. The things that have happened to me. I have been targeted. I am a victim, and a victim of Terry Van Avery. He has been a rude, disgusting person, and he's been incredibly mean to me, and I have not been able to do anything I've wanted to do because he's always sticking his nose in my business.
Are you all right?
I'm not all right. And now he challenges me to a match. I have to think about that. Do I really want to wrestle him?
Are you worried that Terry may have your number?
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about him distracting me and doing things that he shouldn't be doing. I wouldn't do that to him.
Well, here's the deal tonight. He didn't really have anything to do with your loss tonight. That was up there, Josh.
No, it wasn't. He was sitting outside the ring watching my match, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, and I didn't see where he was. And then that caused me to not know what's going on, and I made a mistake. I was looking for him, and then next thing I know, I'm laying on the canvas, and I lose my match. This is like the 4th time. This is not fair, J-Rod.
He was in the, well, anyways, War on the Shore. It's around the corner. What do you think? Are you going to accept that challenge or not?
I don't know. Part of me wants to destroy him. Part of me just wants to tear him apart. The other part of me just wants him to just go away. I don't know.
Here we are. Tough questions to be answered here with Josh Raymond. Anything else? Is there anything you want to say to Terry?
Why are you doing this, man? Like, I didn't do anything to you. I've been nothing but a good friend up until, we just separated. It was a mutual disagreement. We had to go our own ways. I didn't do anything, man. Why are you doing this to me?
To be fair, you did wrap that chair around his head at War on the Shore 3. I mean, that was the beginning of it.
Maybe a wake-up call was something he needed. I was just trying to let him know, hey, do what you should be doing. Maybe you should win this match. And he didn't win the match, and I'm just kind of give him a little nudge. That's all it was, just a nudge.
Here we are, IPW Survival. Josh Raymond, I'm worried for you, bro. Thank you so much, guys.
It's almost hard to watch Josh Raymond continue to play the victim and gaslight everyone around him. As for LaDon Sanders, he's been quietly amassing a big winning streak that has seen victories over the likes of Anthony Katina, Big Jorge, and now Josh Raymond. He's got a ton of momentum and can even make the case for a title shot now. In yet another Fate of 8 qualifier, Big Jorge met one half of the tag team champions, Max Morrison. Morrison qualified for last year's tournament and will make it 2 years in a row after picking up a huge win over Jorge. That means both of our IPW Tag Team Champions have found their way into the Fate of 8 tournament. Jeremiah Goldmain picked Big Jorge over Anderson Knight, causing Knight to ditch the Golden Initiative project. Considering Knight made it into the tournament and Jorge did not, one has to wonder if Goldmain may be regretting his decision. We'll see what happens with those three on Saturday at Shootout. In our final Fate of 8 qualifier, fan favorites Felix Morio and hardcore specialist Casey Tempest were set to lock horns. Just before the bell rang, I got a message that this match had been switched to a triple threat match, and Terry Van Avery walked through the curtain ready to compete for the first time in 2 months. Van Avery won the Fate of 8 last year and will have a chance to do so again as he super kicked his way into the tournament despite Josh Raymond trying to interfere and screw him over. Terry challenged Josh to a match at War on the Shore, but if Terry wins Fate of 8, he will be in the main event at War on the Shore. I caught up with him after the match to discuss what he would do in said scenario. Here we are, IPW Survival backstage. Big night for Terry Van Avery, making a challenge for War on the Shore with Josh Raymond, but also entering into a triple threat match and qualifying for the Fate of 8 tournaments. Here's the deal: if you win the tournament, there's a chance that you could challenge again for the IPW Championship. But you challenge Josh Raymond as well. How does that work? Do you do the challenge?
Let me ask you a question first, J-Rod. Were you not mesmerized? I'm back. The fans loved it. It feels really good. You know, it's been a long time since I've been out here, since I heard the fans cheering for me, and it just felt great tonight. As far as your question, go ahead and ask your question again. Go ahead.
Okay, so Fate of 8, you win that. You get the challenge for the IPW Championship, which...
Again, because last year I won the Fate of 8, didn't I?
You did.
That would be fantastic. Now, if I won the Fate of 8 tournament, I know you're asking, I know what you're about to ask. Would I challenge for the title, or would I go after Josh Raymond? The title is in my future no matter what. When Josh Raymond wrapped that chair around my head a year ago, I knew that the only way that I was going to come back to some sort of level of content with myself, that I was going to be able to sleep at night, is if I was able to wrap a chair around his head. And the only place to do that is the same place that he did it to me, War on the Shore for. So, with that being said, if Josh Raymond accepts my challenge, maybe I'll do both. We'll see what happens.
There you have it. Maybe he'll do both. Josh Raymond's got to accept that challenge first, though. It's J-Rod live for IPW Survival. Fans will remember that last summer, Tempest and Morio nonchalantly agreed to become a tag team. But Casey broke his ankle and Felix suffered a pretty serious hip injury. So nothing ever came of it. They hugged it out after the triple threat match as fans suggested they revisit their old tag team aspirations. Who knows what might happen? The women's tables match was underway as former champion Stella Buho would get a chance to reclaim the IPW Women's Championship against Thunder Kitty LaFleur. The two most technical women on the roster instead decided to just slug it out. And just as Buho was setting up the table, Thunder Kitty pulled out a pair of brass knuckles and used them to knock Buho the hell out before spearing her through the table to retain the Women's Championship. That concludes this edition of The Insider. Join us this Saturday in Holland, Michigan for one of the most stacked cards of the year as IPW presents Shootout.